got off a panel was a fellow Canadian here. Anyways, welcome back to this really impromptu live stream once again. Uh, and of course, I'm not at home still. Hello to the people out there. A chance to reconnect with some of you out there and share some stories and some things. And obviously, you saw the thumbnail. It's a winter-related thing because it's still cold out west. Let me just bring my live chat back up. I'll wait for some people to join here. Obviously, I just started. Hopefully, everyone's staying warm if it's cold. You know, keeping up with the shoveling if you're getting snow. Shift Kicker, nice to see you again. Hi, nice to see you again. Obviously, now on my own stream. So it's nice to see everyone here. So, yeah, it's still cold out west. I think there's snow or something like that out east. In the central part of the country, there's doesn't seem like much is going on. I mean, it's probably maybe seasonal, like in Manitoba or something like that. Because actually, this morning when I got up, obviously the first thing I checked, I'm like, let's see how not warm it is outside. It's, yeah, it's still cold. It's still cold. It's minus 34 Celsius out, minus 27 Fahrenheit out. The wind's supposed to pick up later in the day, so the wind chill's not factor. The feel like temperature's not gonna go up. Hey. Oh, look at this. See Matthew? Dale, Danger Dale, Prepping Life. It's Wide Family Farm. Hi. Yeah, minus 27 Fahrenheit for you people in the U.S. And some places they're a little bit more northern than where I live and such, and let's say in the mountain areas or whatever, it's even colder. I know that for sure. Because if you look at the environment, isn't Environment Canada? I think so. Anyways, the weather.gc.ca, there's a lot of per se alerts and statements out right now. And out in like at almost every part of the country right now, except for the central part of the country right now. So things are going down. While it's like minus per se 40 out west, it's like hovering around the freezing mark out east. And let's say Toronto, Ottawa, for example, because I double checked. First thing I was checking, I'm like, how's it out east? I'm like, yeah, it's much. It's like it feels like almost 40 degrees warmer out east. Or for you guys in the U.S., that'd be like minus 22 Fahrenheit compared to 32 Fahrenheit. Bring my chat up. Prepping like that. Hopefully you're doing well. Nice to see you all again. It's nice to see you, White Family Farm. Family Farm. Nice to see you all. I have to get my coffee. It's over on the side. I'm still doing this YouTube mobile app type of streaming, so there's always certain things I have to remember and such. And yes, I have been outside. I have been outside, everyone. Not for very long, but I have been outside. Definitely wearing layers. Definitely wearing one of these. Just for my cheeks. Although I wear glasses, so I don't usually have it that high up. Because of, like, frost on the glasses and stuff. For those that wear glasses, you can relate to that. because you get that kind of thing where you can't see, you know, frost builds up on your glasses and stuff like that. You gotta constantly wipe them and stuff like that. Some people put up with a cold face just because they want to be able to see. And honestly, if you're walking or whatever, you want to be able to see where you're where you're going and such. So usually it's just like up here with me, and I just breathe through my just control breathing, and yeah. And every so often I'll lower it back down and such. Did that way before everything else. Let's see, what do I have here? Hey, Chaz? Let's see, I have one in here. Oh, wait. Well, I really wish you could highlight in this. Like it in their apps and stuff like that. Hi, Anne. How are you doing? Nice to see you, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, I actually temporarily stepped outside for a moment. Just so I could just be like, yeah, let's see how it is, right? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember you guys. Yeah. I remember. Like I said, I do pay attention to not just to the channel name, but the people behind it. It's a little bit easier to remember the channel if I know the people behind it, right? Because obviously every YouTube channel, for the most part, has people or a person behind it. So it's nice to get to know them, you know, and such, and be like, "Hi, how are you?" and all that stuff. So yes, it is. Well, actually, the sun's coming up. I guess it's nice in the sun at least. It's not as windy as it was the other day. So wind chill factor or the field light temperature is not as cold. Let's just say. Although the wind's supposed to pick up later in the day, so but the temperature's supposed to slowly, and I mean slowly, I mean very, very, very slightly rise. But still relatively it's cold. However, bright side, like literally bright side, it's supposed to go back to seasonal. And I mean seasonal, like Christmas time ish next week. Obviously, it's Thursday when I'm recording this at the time of this recording, or I mean stream. Shout out to the replay gang and all that stuff. So yeah, I gotta make sure. Sorry about that. I gotta make sure my phone's charging here. I was hoping that I can show some outside, but I know I need a high amount of battery life because I know it's that cold out. Because I went out for like a walk for like 20 minutes, barely even used the phone, like barely, and I dropped like at least 5%, and it was underneath my jacket and in something that I use to hold the phone. So like one of those inside jacket pockets is a good idea to put your phone. I have the tendency not to put something like a phone, for example, on an outside pocket because it's tends not to be warm enough. And honestly, these batteries that we use on these devices, they tend to go down when it's colder. I mean, at the temperatures that I have today and this week, it'll go down real fast. And especially if you start using it or bringing it out and stuff like that. So stuff like Bluetooth and stuff like that, headsets and stuff like that can help. That way you're not having to like pull the phone out all the time, for example. And usually I turn off Wi-Fi and stuff like that just to save battery life. Usually I displays them down a little bit more, unless I actually need to see the display and stuff like that. Hopefully I missed anyone in here, but no, I don't think I missed anyone. Feels like the side's different. Maybe just me. Alright, let me wipe the camera. Ooh, should have wiped the camera before I came in. GP, what's up, man? Garden prepping in the house with me? How are you doing, my friend? What's up, Wes? How are you doing, man? You too, man. Oh, it's morning here for me. It's morning out in North America right now, that's for sure. Couple more days until Sunday, honestly, and stuff like that. Hopefully everyone's doing well, like you said, so. I know some people out there. Yeah, it's good to see you too, GP. Some people have travel plans and stuff like that, travel safely. Hopefully you're not. Well, I know some people are stuck at, airports and stuff like that, flight delays and stuff like that. I briefly just saw some information about that, like yesterday when I was just taking a look and such. I'm like, yep. If you're gonna travel, right, travel safely, get to your location or destination safely. Even if you show up 5-10 minutes late, better just show up 5-10 minutes late than not, right? So, and plan ahead. Dress in layers. Stay dry. There's supposed to be a video from me later. A very short 30-second clip. Well, video. But you'll see that in a few hours from now. I have it scheduled. So, just some things to consider and keep in mind while you do your activities this weekend or today and such. Because, yeah, it's definitely cold out. I mean, and cold is relative to what you're used to or a typical value for this time of year for you, wherever you are. Yeah, exactly. Nah, West. Hi, Gemma. Nice to see you again. Well, the text anyways. Nice to see you. How are you doing? So, like I said, hopefully everyone's staying warm. And like I said to you, Gemma, 5 layers. I'm like, I still have like a hoodie, a shirt, and just another shirt on too. I mean, my sweater's over on the side. Obviously, a jacket. I don't just wear a fluffy jacket or something like that and call it a day. No. I'm wearing layers and layers and stuff like that. Like, something what I'm wearing right now would be like a typical thing that I might wear during the winter time, like a hoodie or something like that. Long sleeve shirt underneath, something for my head and stuff like that. Just hold on a sec. Okay. Just had to make sure my battery's actually charging here. Let's see, I think I see some things that came by in here. Oh, I see that comment, Wes. I stepped into it, metaphorically speaking. Yeah, you still got the blankets on, hey? Oh, yeah. Gemma, I'm wearing, like, 2 pairs of pants. I mean, or long johns or whatever you want to call it, something like that. I mean, one doesn't cut it. I mean, I was debating on wearing ski pants, but I decided not to. And I think you got flannel on, Wes. I think another important thing, since I'm talking about winter and cold, is actually know the limitations of the gear. How warm really it is, right? It's one thing to be like, oh, it's warm when you're only outside for 5 minutes. It's one thing to say it's warm when there's no wind or whatever, but or let's say 32 Fahrenheit 0 Celsius. Is it still that warm per se, quote unquote, that warm when it's what it is for me here? So something like gloves or mitts or something like that, you know, I've been wearing very similar gloves and mitts and stuff like that, and seeing the range, like I don't have them nearby. They're sitting over there and over there and over there, but know the range that it's what's that um, a comfort value or limited um, to like this temperature. So, for example, and know the difference between something that looks winterish to something that actually doesn't keep you warm. Actually doesn't keep your hands warm, keep your face warm, neck warm, pants warm. I mean pants, legs warm, feet warm, your torso, right? Also, core body temperature is very important. You gotta keep your core warm. If your core is cold, you're gonna start feeling it, right? Because as soon as your core starts getting cold, what usually happens automatically is that it's gonna pull heat away from your extremities, right? It's a natural reaction or a natural thing. And I have cold spots on parts of my body, like my feet, right? My feet get cold because usually feet extremities are further away from your core, right? So, and blood flow has to go all the way around to the bottom of your feet and come back all the way around back to your heart and so forth and so forth. And stuff like frostbite, frostnip definitely hurt when you get it. Try to avoid it as much as possible. Limit your activities outside as much as you can. Sometimes it's hard because you still have to do things. You're in Canada, I still have to do things. I still have to maybe pick up something or whatever, or help someone out or something like that. So yeah. Oh, Wes, you funny one today, Wes. Okay, Wes. Yeah, I read your statement about that about the furls. Yeah, and some people wear like long johns and stuff like that, especially if you're gonna be outside for a significant amount of time. Let's say more than 15 minutes, especially in these temperatures. And if there's windshield, feel a temperature that's lower or gusty winds and stuff like that. Yeah, or you're walking into the wind and stuff like that. It's one thing when the when you got a tailwind. It's totally different when you got a headwind in front of you because you don't feel the full force of the wind. And windshield will definitely show which parts are not warm enough because the winds just don't penetrate the material if it's not like a windproof layer or something like that, or you don't have enough insulation. Because obviously, heat travels from something hot to something cold. That's what something thermal, blah blah blah. Anyways, that's how it goes. So we're always expelling heat from the body, and then during the wintertime, you want to retain that heat, have layers that trap air. Hence, wearing layers is nice. I mean, on some of these walks I've been going through on this week and what I have here as terms of gear and stuff like that, clothing and stuff like that, I'm wearing like 5 layers. Very necessary. Because 2 or 3, maybe even 4 is not gonna cut it to a certain degree. And like I said, I'm not just wearing a one fluffy or a puffy jacket or something like that, or a thick coat or something like that. I'm wearing layers, so if I start, and obviously don't break a sweat, stay dry, right? But if I start getting too warm, or depending on the activities, I can let some coolness in and make sure, you know, be comfortable. I don't need to be, I'm comfortable and warm. I don't need to be quote unquote hot. Yes, I just said that. I just said all that. Okay, prepping life. Yeah, it's nice to always see you around. It's nice to see you all around, actually. Hold on, misclicked her. Make sure my battery's still going. Yeah, yeah, my battery's still going up. I gotta make sure my battery's going up. I'm at like about 63% right now. Actually, I'm not trying to shovel outside. Step out there. I mean, I've stepped out there. Don't get me wrong. I've stepped out there. I've gone for like a walk or something like that. 20 minutes, whatever it is, right? Okay, okay, GP. It's all good. It's all good. I mean, remember, this was an improv 2 stream, so I get it, you know? You guys are giving me a little bit of your time, so I appreciate it, so... Well, you guys and gals. The people out there. You know, as I've been going for these walks and such, I've been seeing some people and stuff like that, and I'm like, I think a jacket is, like, obviously I'm seeing the jackets, because I think that's a no-brainer right there. But, you know, and I understand we all have our tolerances to both heat and cold, but there's a limit to that. Like, you have a physical limit where if you're not wearing more, for example, in the wintertime, you're going to start getting cold, you know, you're going to start to feel cold, frostbite, shivering, and all that stuff, so... And if you feel like, oh, your ears are getting cold, your head's getting cold, your neck's getting cold, well, try to wear some more clothing, whatever it is, right? Whether it be a buff or something to protect your neck, let's say a toque or something, stocking cap or whatever. And, well, stocking is a word for this time of year, right? So, to keep your ears warm, to keep your head warm and stuff like that, you know. You know, I tend to put up with a cold nose or something like that. I'm quite used to that, unless it's really extremely windy and really extremely cold. And yes, there is extreme cold warnings out west right now, like Yukon, Northwest Territories, British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan right now. And there's like weather statements or snow out east right now in Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, and Newfoundland right now. So apparently, Manitoba and Nunavut area has just been seasonal. I don't know, or typical. Nothing's going on majorly, anyways. Oh yeah, you got one of those. I think I have something like that. I think it's partially wool. I don't wear it a lot. And I was trying out this air hat that yeah. See, I don't think I have it with me. No, it's in the other room. But I'm trying out this air hat to see, and it has like it's not just like per se a toque with like layers sandwiched in between, and you know that when you see a toque that hat, well, because the triangles come together at the tip and it's sewn together and stuff like that. It actually has like flannel or a fluffiness on the inside, so it traps that air. And of course, when you trap that air next to your body, you have the tendency to stay warmer because it's more thermal insulated. You have some of that insulation. It's hard, and like I said, no matter how good the clothing is, you're always losing heat. But the idea is to reduce the heat loss, so over time it's very little over a greater amount of time, and because of that, you'll have the tendency to feel warmer versus losing heat. That same amount of heat much quicker, for example. Oh, that's cool, Wes. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I have a wool sweater with me. I did not wear the wool hat or the wool mitts this time because I actually want to see how good this air stuff is by actually experiencing it by being outside with it and with a known temperature. Because something like very basic. Uh, okay, okay, Dale. Something like those very basic gloves. I'm wearing those maybe at 0 Celsius, 32 Fahrenheit. They're not gonna cut it during this time of year. And if I do, I'm wearing them with in addition to like a mitt or something like that, like as an underlayer or as a base layer. Because, like I said, frost nip or frostbite really does hurt. It can be painful too. And not only have I experienced it to a certain degree, I've seen people shiver. You know, trying to warm back up after coming back from outside, not wearing suitable clothing or winter gear or cold winter gear or stuff for this time of year or for temperatures like this or similar. Let's just check my battery. Okay. I'm at 67%. So that should be good for a little bit. I'm just trying to raise my battery battery level on my phone before I even attempt this, because I know as soon as I go out there, because I'm gonna try to do it without the battery bank, not for very long though. It's just as an indication. I'm hoping to do it though. I'm not that making promises though. So yeah, I mean, and I showed this in a previous live stream, like midway, well, on the latter half of the stream and stuff. I know some people may have seen it and such, you know. So, coming back to what I was saying earlier, because I almost forgot about that, I I see people what they're wearing, and like I said, the jackets are, yeah, I get that. You know, that's I'm expecting to see that. Sometimes I'm seeing some people not wear toques or hats or whatever, right, neck coverings or whatever, and sometimes I'm seeing gloves. Sometimes I'm seeing mitts, right? You know, and I get it. You know, you're driving or whatever, right? But remember, you may still have to step outside, fill up the gas tank, right, and such, right? Do have it with you, right? Just in case you're gonna be outside a little bit longer than you expected, right? It's not that quick. How do I say? Not just outside for 5 minutes, right? You know, maybe it's that. You know, oh, I couldn't find a close parking spot. Now I gotta walk like an extra block or whatever. You know, for parking and then walking into a place or whatever, right? So you throw on that extra hat, just or gloves or whatever, right? Because the thing about clothing or layering is that you can't put on layers or clothing if you don't have it, right? So obviously, like a hood and stuff like that. If you don't have it, well, you can't put it on. You don't have gloves, you can't put them on. And yes, I've seen people, quote unquote, about it. Well, cold, right? Bring my chat back up. Okay. Come on. I'm trying to click here. Apparently, I got something on the side of my screen. Yeah, see, you could. Unless it's just a reflection. Maybe it's just the way it is. Because it almost looks like it's like washed out here. I'll have to check wipe my camera or whatever. I think I have something to wipe the lens with, but it's with my phone case, so I can't really access it right now. But I digress. Anyways, coming back to what I was saying about seeing people outside and noticing certain things, right? I mean, like, if you're warm or comfortable, yeah. But if you're not, maybe consider putting stuff on, right? You know, like I've said this one time in a previous live stream, and I think Wes, you remember that. Well, I've shown it, I've worn it. I don't obviously I don't have them here, but even if it's pink, right? Maybe you don't like pink or something like that, but if it's warm, do consider it, right? Because you might be like, oh, I don't want to look, you know, insert words. Hi, Gray, I see you in there. But if you're complaining about the cold or think you're don't look foolish, well, you might look foolish when you're like, Sierra, can you help me warm up my hands? And you're complaining about it, right? So, you know, do what you can. I mean, like, something I have right here. This is something I would wear, like I said, as a base layer. This is like a base layer of a buff for me. I I actually have like another one. I have another one. Actually, I have like, well, this is the bait. This is more. I have another one that fits over my head. I got one that would be wearing outside and such. I brought one for my friend to use and such. Doubles as a neck warmer and such because, like I said, if the wind's coming in, the windshield's coming in and such. I mean, I don't want frost nip on my neck, let alone my face. You know, I can put up with like foggy glasses to a certain degree, but after a while, a cold face, it's just gonna be like, that ouch, right? This frostnip and frostbite is not, ugh, it hurts. Especially the longer you're outside for, the longer you're experiencing it and such. Because I have a head on the side here and such, and, like I said, I have another buff that has fleece light. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. So it's not as thin as this. This would be, like I said, a base layer, and then I would put that on top. So if I needed to like let some air in or if glass is fogging up, I can lower it, but I still have a base layer. For example, although thin, still base layer. It's just like having thin gloves on the inside, then layering on top of that as a base layer. Those glo- those gloves, let's say, usually they're like finish. That's just a barrier. So when you're touching like door handles, your car door, handling something that's like metal or something like a shovel or something like that, or for example, it's just a base layer, so you don't get in, that instant conduction loss of heat. That thermal heat loss right away from conduction. Because even I was helping my buddy like remove a little bit of snow, and I found this handle. It's not a wooden handle. I have wooden handled, uh, quote unquote, shovels at home, at my place, and I've seen them and I've used them. But I thought this was a plastic one. It's not to me that bad. I'm like, I touch it. I'm like, it just feels cold. Like instantly, you get like frost nip or frostbite because it's been sitting outside for like this whole time, right? This whole week, and even with like a base layer, I'll start feeling cold. I won't get the frost nip or frostbite right away, but I'll feel that coolness or coldness. So if I'm outside for an extended amount of time, need to shovel for longer than just like a few steps or a few feet, then obviously I would start wearing multiple layers on. Because I'm handling this quote unquote snow removal tool and such. And I've been actually been experimenting. I guess you guys don't find this out. Hopefully later on. Hopefully I'll do a video. Sneak peek. Oh yeah, sneak peek about it. But I've been working on ways to kind of those shovels and stuff like that. Try to insulate the handles better. That way I don't get that thermal heat loss from touching them and handling them. Because obviously they're sitting outside for the whole winter. They're gonna be as cold as the ambient air, probably, right? And especially if those shovels or handles have metal in them. Metal obviously is going to conduct heat much faster than wood or plastic. A lot faster. Probably, well, even faster than water and such. Hence, they get cold fast and they heat up fast. What's up, Keith? How are you doing? Nice to see you around. Excuse me. So yeah, I've been planning on I'm modifying some handles and stuff like that because I figure, I mean, yes, you can use a snow shovel for reasons in the summer or whatever, spring, summer, fall. I know, I've done it, leaves, whatever, right? But generally speaking, its primary use is going to be during the winter time for snow. So I figured maybe I should try to insulate them a little bit more and reduce that. Uh, put some sort of insulator or something to slow down that heat transfer from my hand to the shovel handle, for example. So I've been trying that out because I'm like, man, that could be beneficial. I could see myself doing something like that. It might be, depending. I'll have to see on the materials, but it might be as easy as like putting something on or something like that and wrapping it or something like that. So, and maybe something with grip too, so it's grippy and such. So I have some quote unquote traction, because yeah, especially if I'm handling a shovel for a long period of time. So something to keep in mind. That way, even if I'm not wearing the best gloves or something at that time or whatever, or someone else is handling it with not the best gloves, or maybe a bare hand. Hopefully not, right? It wouldn't be as cold to the hands. Because I've noticed that sometimes it's handling, you know, if you're if you have nothing in your hands and you're wearing gloves or mitts, yeah, you're probably gonna be fairly quote unquote warm. But if you gotta handle things like metals and stuff like that, holding something or lifting something, well, let's say metals or something like that, working on an engine, and also you need dexterity for doing stuff like that to a certain degree. But touching bare metal, touching a bare metal handle like on a door or something like that, you're gonna almost instantly feel that frost nip, just because that heat, that conduction from the metal is just gonna be like, whoosh, right? It's just gonna pull that heat away from your body or hands in this case much faster. Let's see, bring on my chat here. Yes, thank you, Keith. Oh, sorry to hear about that, Corey. All the best in that, Corey. With you in spirit, my friend. Yeah, something along the lines of that, or and such, right, Keith? Yeah. I'm just trying to, kind of thinking out. Well, I shouldn't say thinking outside the box, but kind of thinking, what do people have at their disposal, right? It could be, especially without necessarily, quote unquote, buying something, right? Yeah, there's probably something out there that you can shop online and be like, yeah, and get it delivered right away. But then again, you have to purchase it, shipping or whatever, right? And you might have something just laying around right now that you're not even using. It's a scrap piece of material or resource, and just putting it back into a useful state. So I've been thinking about stuff like this. and and something that can withstand and handle like the seasons and be able to be able to be able to be able to use it for long periods of time. So, I mean, it's similar to like having like crampons or ice cleats for your feet in the wintertime, especially with places. Well, here where I am right now, like I've actually saw like the 2021 2022 season. That's a lot of twos in there, to be honest. Or was that too much to say? You know, I saw on four separate occasions, varying amounts of it, freezing rain, and I was just like, and sometimes I didn't always have to travel in that or have to be in there outside in that, but sometimes I actually had to, because I actually had to go somewhere. And lately, I've been like, oh, thank goodness I have these ice cleats or crampons that I can use, so I can get to my destination and stuff like that, and not be less concerned about ice. Because slipping on ice is quite painful. I mean, I did a live stream where I almost thought I sprained both my wrists, but my left one recovered within like relatively fast. My my right side, weeks, and that's not like as major as like a broken bone. Like I said in a previous live stream, I mean, one of my friend's moms, she broke a leg right outside her place, right outside. Like I was, or relative, well, as far as I know from a story that I heard. So yeah, yeah, exactly, Keith. Hi, Blind Neil. Hello. How are you doing? Yeah, of course I remember the name. Don't worry. I do. I try to remember the name and the people behind the channels too. Hey, Marshmallow Man. What's up, Lou? Yeah. Well, yeah. I know. Like I said earlier, in the GTA area, it went down in Windsor. It's like +2. Down in Ottawa, in the nation's capital, it's like -6 at that time that I looked. It's probably like -3. Probably coming up to the freezing mark right now and such. I think down in like Quebec City, it's relatively the same temperature. So it's much much warmer out east. 30, 40 degrees warmer. Big difference. I mean, if I was out with where Marshmallow Man is, like I could get away with a thinner jacket. I'd probably still wear a hoodie, probably, or whatever, or a long sleeve shirt. I probably could get away with just this, maybe some thinner mitts or gloves. I wouldn't have to layer up so much, because something like that's less cold. Uh, feels like it's -3 Celsius. Feels like -9 in Northern Ontario. Yeah. Obviously, that's in the 20 Fahrenheit type range for you guys and people, guys and gals, and people down in the U.S. I try to do the conversions for you all so you guys can get a sense of it. Take care, Keith. If you're slipping out, I'm assuming you're slipping out, so take care. Virtual fist bump on the way out. You know. And speak of people, right? Check up on some people if you can, right? Say hi to them, right? I mean, you know, I don't. I didn't want to get into that part right now or in this stream, but yeah, check up on people, right? Things happen, or you know, things might look great on the outside, but people are hurting on the inside. Just say. Let's see, what did she say? Oh, snow squall warning. Yeah, I think this is why, like I said, I've seen the advisories and warnings and statements out east. Some of them, right? I didn't read all the areas, so And I mean that's the thing too, right? If it's around the freezing mark or whatever, and there's moisture in the air, right? Let's say from a low pressure system, it's probably gonna snow because when there's cold air, cold dry air mixing in with moist, warmer air, probably not get snow or some form of precipitation. All right. Hopefully, it's just light dusting of like flurries, right, and not or maybe even ice pellets, but not you know heavy snowfall or what I consider one of the worst type of precipitation, freezing rain. I mean, I'm not saying hail is not crazy too, but freezing rain is one of those things that it affects every last thing. It makes power lines droop down because they get heavier. Tree limbs might break because they get heavier. Ice on the outside of your vehicle, harder to open up a vehicle. What's up, Bush Dog? How's it going, man? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know Bush Dog lives out west here too, so they're familiar with the cold, right? They might have remember some of the freezing rain and such, right? So this is why I'm have the tendency to like dress for the weather and such because I've been seeing it in my lifetime, right? In my lifetime, where I've been seeing a lot, especially lately. It feels like I'm seeing a lot more of it, right? You know, because this reminds me of a story here. Nova Scotia under a rainfall warning, wind warning. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you're getting some sort of precipitation in there. This reminds me of a story, and I've mentioned this story on a previous live stream and our live streams and on our panels and such. When I was very young, back in school, this person it was their first, and this is back in school, right? So when I was younger, primary school, right, or elementary, whatever you want to call it, where basically during recess time, and this person just moved into the country. It was their first real winter of the season, right? Their first winter, right? And basically during recess time, I was dressed for the weather. Everyone else, that was or been there during the beginning of the school year was, gloves, mitts, whatever, hats, toques, ski pants, jacket, blah blah blah. Right? I'm trying to remember what the actual temperature was. It must have been like maybe even as cold or slightly warmer than it is right now for me currently. And they came back from recess time, and they were literally in pain. Let's just say pain, because they were out in just a sweater. I don't know how many layers they had on. It's been a very long time ago. No gloves. I don't know. I can't. I'm trying to remember if they even had it too. I think what happened is that they had frostbite on their hands, and they were in major pain from that. It took like a good, because it was during the morning time. I think they were fine like maybe an hour or so like lunchtime when we left again. But the story is the lesson here or whatever is that one of my fellow classmates actually uh, donated, whatever you want to call it, a pair of gloves, spare pair that they had to help them out. So something to keep in mind. Hashtag winter's no joke. I know, right? I know, right? Like I said, frostbite hurts. Yeah, frostbite hurts. I mean, frost nip is one thing, but when you start actually having frostbite, man, it starts hurting. And like I've said, don't try to avoid it. All right, or doing this with your bare hands. And this, it's one thing if you're not eventually, you're just like right outside your place. You know, there's a heat source nearby to dry out said gloves. If you're doing this outside for long periods of time, yeah, it might warm up your hands, but because there's moisture every time you breathe out, your gloves or something like that are not build up in moisture. And what happens? Water conducts heat away much faster than being dry or the ambient air. So stay dry. Try not to sweat. Hi, growing on Vancouver Island. How are you doing? Well, you know what? I've been reading some places I've broken uh, record overnight lows, right, and stuff like that. I knew it was expected. I knew it was gonna be expected, right? And remember, we have access. Well, most of us, anyways, to online access. So when you check your weather or something like that, also pay attention to the historical records, right? Where how hot could it get, or cold in this case for this time of year, and consider it's like, when it says, let's say it's 0 Celsius 32 Fahrenheit out, and maybe that's seasonal for this time of year for you whenever you're watching this or whatever, but you see, oh, it can get down to minus 11 Fahrenheit, minus 24 Celsius, and there's records showing that in the past, however long ago, whatever. Consider, oh, the temperature can actually get that cold because it has happened in the past. For example, just like on the opposite side of the spectrum, heat, right? Maybe I should talk about warm things. Warm up my chat here. Yeah, yeah. Well, I imagine it's not just in Alberta. It's probably in BC, the Yukon, Northwest Territories, probably in Saskatchewan too, right? One way or another, there's places, not all places, but there's probably is places that are breaking record, if they haven't already. For over these days that it's been this type of temperature, been this cold. Just check come on. Okay, my camera, my phone's charging. I gotta make sure my phone's charging. I gotta remember that and not assume, right? Oh yeah, oh for sure. I imagine so, right? I there is. I've been hearing about this. It's not to alarm anyone or whatever, but to consider that when things are cold, things have a harder time running. So just something to keep in mind. Not just your vehicle, but other things too, right? Because it takes a strain on the system. So just something to keep in mind. Be proactive. Prepare. That's my PSA for the stream, if anything at all. All right. Remember that, right? You know, let's see. What are you saying there? Okay. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. Growing in Vancouver Island. Yeah. It would be. It would compound the what's going on and such. Yeah. Because that's the thing. All right. Like, what's that? What's that saying? Yeah, I can't remember the saying right now. Anyways, I digress. So yes. Hold on one sec. Oh, I really should. Hold on. Oh, I got a battery bank. Because I should have brought on the USB extension. Oh, it's not close enough, and I need to sit down. Well, I don't have to, but. And I also don't have my headset, so I can't just walk over there because you won't be able to hear me because I'll be further away from the phone and you won't be able to hear me, and I'll have to shout or something like that, and I don't like shouting, and yeah, remember to leave with the headphones in my ear. At least my battery indicator is saying that I'm at 80%. Yes, I have an indicator that tells me when I'm at 80%. It's nice. It's nice to know that. Oh, speak of which, see, my feet are just laid out right now, so I gotta move my feet. Thank you, Blind Neil. It's very nice of you to say so. I should actually go get my. I should have brought it closer. Although I'm learning how to do this like the YouTube mobile streaming thing a little bit better now. It's a little bit different compared to doing the other things because there are certain things I don't have access to. I can't highlight any of the comments and I can't put icon only. So and like I said, I'm at my buddy's place. So there's certain things on the wall and such that I don't want to. Thanks, Bush Dog. That I don't want to show just out of respect. I don't think I don't think they would be very happy if I showed that certain things. Out of respect, right? Out of respect. Like it's one thing to show something from me personally, but it's you know, it's just how I am. That's what. That's why you don't see me do videos on location much. Just because I don't like doing it. But I mean, it's one thing if I tell them and I ask, but if they don't know, then it's like, yeah, it's such. And I don't want to give more to those individuals or group members or, yeah, you know what I mean? So, oh, let me, hold on a sec. Everyone, let me go get this here. I gotta remember what I'm showing here, like I said. Hold on a sec here. Grab my coffee here. Because I gotta swing the camera around everywhere because I'm turning. So, and like I said, my buddy's got pictures on the wall, family members, and all this, stuff. So I don't want to show too much here. That's why I'm only showing this back part right now. That's the only thing really I want to show. Make sure come on, phone, charge. Come on, we're close in here. Hold on a second, one. Come on. Okay, here I am. So yeah, because I know that my friend has pictures on the wall, so that's why I don't show certain things. It's one thing to show something I have, but it's totally different than asking someone and showing something that they may or may not want to be shown. Wow, an hour went by pretty fast here. I hope I'm trying to get my phone up to 90% and maybe quickly show a little bit of outside. Because I've been meaning to do it, but I'm trying to get my phone up a little bit higher because I know as soon as I take it off the battery bank, and these battery banks do help, right? I know some of you have similar, different branded, obviously, but similar battery banks. Smaller in capacity, some of them bigger and such, right? I mean, these do help. As many of you out there are YouTube content creators out there. So, and even if you're not a content creator, well, having a little bit of extra juice with your phone is nice, especially in the wintertime. Especially if you're making calls, you know, you're streaming, doing, maybe your phone battery's not as good as it was, and stuff like that. So it does help. I'm actually charging. Well, this is my battery, my buddy's battery bank. I'm charging my battery bank. It's at 75%. It's charging the last 25% right now. And obviously, the bigger the capacity or whatever, it takes longer to charge up. But because of that, you get more recharge amounts on your device, whatever it is. I'm glad I'm remembering to put everything in landscape mode when I start YouTube, the YouTube mobile streaming. Because you actually have to do it before you start the stream because you can't change orientation once you start it. Unlike something like StreamYard, where you can change the orientation still, even while you're streaming. So, for anyone that wants to do it in the future, yeah, make sure you have your orientation set to landscape if you want, you know, that 16:9 aspect ratio. Because now it always reminds me of like where I see things from people from other people doing the live stream. Like, oh, now I know what they meant about. Sorry, your uh rotation or whatever is locked. If I moved it this way or something like that, or if I had it portrait, I'm like, and tried to do it. No, it's not that. You have to restart the stream or start the stream like that in the first place. And how I've noticed right here on my top left hand corner of my screen right now, which you can't see obviously because that's an overlay for me, how it counts in minutes, and it doesn't tell me it counts in minutes. So about 61 minutes in, and I gotta remember what the time is. Hold on one sec. Okay, sorry about that. I had to alt tab out and see what the time is because I can't see the time by just checking my Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, blah blah blah. Is it my phone charging? Somehow it doesn't show the time, or I don't see it. Put that on. I'll probably only be on for I don't know, not that much longer. I know my friend's supposed to be back relatively soon. I just figured I'd come on, share a few things, like I said. Hopefully, like I said, take winter seriously. If anything, I mean, like look what's been going on in the last like this month alone, the last 2 to 3 weeks. If that's any indication of things that can or would happen in your own area, well, take it seriously, right? For your own area, right? I mean, for me out west, it's just, for me out west, it's definitely the cold. The winter cold. Not just Canadian cold, but like Arctic windshield cold, right? That's why earlier in the month and like last month, I was like reorganizing some gloves and mitts and toques and stuff like that, just so it's a little bit more organized. So I can be like, oh, it's this cold. I can start wearing the. Maybe I'll start wearing this. Oh, it's not as cold. I can just get by with this, for example, right? And see how warm they are, right? And not assume anything, right? By actually trying it out when it's actually that cold, and obviously with windshield and stuff like that, where it's like, wow, this is really cold in the wind. It's fine without the wind, or this is how warm it is, and I mean, and it's still warm even with wind hitting me, for example. Because that way you actually know it, not assume, right? You don't want to assume that it's gonna be warm. That's like assuming right now that it's not warm up. It's not warming up anytime soon. That's assuming that these gloves will be good enough. Have you actually tried it in those those temperatures, and such? And that's just 5 minutes, right? Because 5 minutes isn't a real test in terms of like clothing outside. You want to try it for, when you're going for a walk for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, try them out. See how warm they are for the given temperature at that time. I mean, like I said, I've been out, out on a lake or whatever in the middle of winter. And yeah, I know how cold it is, especially with windshield, you know. And obviously, when you're out in the open more, you're exposed to windshield, right? There's no wind barriers or wind blocks like in the tree line buildings or something like that, or even a vehicle. I mean, and sometimes you do have to walk into the wind because that's the direction you're heading to go home, work, school, whatever. So you know, where maybe the wind's coming in from the north or whatever, and you got to travel north to work and back south back home. Well, the return trip will probably be better, but going to your destination in this case is gonna be cold, where you might want to wear a little bit more. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. Bush dog. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have the chat enabled. Well, not enabled, but the replay. I have to double check on that. I actually haven't double checked on that on my streams from doing these mobile apps. I think it's there because I know I can't highlight them. I can say it, but I can't highlight them. Like I can in StreamYard or something like that. And yes, I do have the doors locked while my buddy's gone, just because I'm in a different room and I'm talking out loud. So I'm just in case. I want to be able to know. Right, yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I got a jacket nearby. I mean, this ain't. Yeah, obviously I use this jacket during the wintertime, but this is not a cold jacket for cold weather. It's got a hood or something like that. It may be look winterish, but it's not as warm as some of my air jackets I have. I mean, I have jackets that are thicker. I mean, I have a down jacket. I mean, I could keep hearing something. Sorry, I think it's just so annoying sometimes. But I got stuff like that if I was like going out, not just going outside for 20 minutes, but outside. Let's just say for an hour, 2, 3 hours, where I know, yeah, maybe I need a little bit more insulation, right? Insulation. Because like even like I said, I have my tolerances to like heat or cold to a certain degree, but I know my limits too, right? I know my feet get cold, or whatever, right? I know my limits. That's why I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll bring a little bit more insulation, a little bit more, quote unquote, protection. You know, you know, quote unquote, add more to that winter suit of armor, right? Like, well, yeah, it's like a suit of armor because it's protecting me against cold, or at least keeping me warmer in this case, right? Sorry, it's just I have something on the screen. Oh, it's muted, because obviously I can't play that. Actually, I probably should turn off the TV. I just have it in the background. So I just got caught up. I just have the weather playing in the background. So I just saw something on the screen or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I could dip into that stuff if I wanted to, but I planned for this trip. I knew what I was doing for activities and stuff like that. I knew I wouldn't be outside longer than, per se, quote unquote, 45 an hour. So, and yes, I do, because I have it right. I have one of them right here. I mean, I throw this on. Wool sleeve. Something I reused. It's wool sleeve. This is 100% lana wool. So you can see there's a, but it still functions. It still keeps me warm. This is 100% wool. I know it is. I know it is. Not only because I saw the tag before I did something to it, but because sparks have hit it. I've been able to hold, to a certain degree, hold a hot iron in my hand for at least a second, right? And it's not melting per se, right? So it's not synthetic. It's not cotton. And it's pretty warm. It does help me. So, so something I have as part of my overall winter gear stuff, right? I mean, this is like for warmer, or to stay warmer with, right? Keep my arms warm or something like that. Keep my wrists warm too, right? Because if I'm assuming if I keep my wrists warm, my hands probably gonna be warm, or at least warmer. If my wrist starts getting cold, well, you know, if my wrist gets getting cold right here because of circulation, it's the my hands or fingertips or whatever might not be as warm. That's why I try to keep my wrists warm, my arms warm too. Because I figure, yeah, I can keep my torso or core body warm, but if I can keep my hands and extremities warm, hopefully that pulling that heat away from your extremities thing that may happen won't happen or delay it a little bit more. So I'm still considering on showing outside. I'm thinking about it still. I'm still thinking about it. Are you guys are jealous and just not take my word for it? Like I said, I do like. I should have, maybe I should have did this on StreamYard instead, because I could do certain things, like put on icon only. I think I'm gonna have to plan, adapt to this a little bit better and plan this a little bit better for the next time. Actually, hold on. I think there might be one way of doing this. Because I'm so used to having the icon feature up. So what I'm gonna do here is, because, like I said, I don't see if I had the icon only thing, I could just do it, but I'll put this little bubbly thingy on. I'll still be here, by the way. I'll still be in the chat, but in the meantime, for you guys, that way I can just turn the camera without randomly showing my buddy's pictures on the wall and such. I am still here, by the way. No. Throw on something here. Yes, I think I will actually end the stream by showing a little bit of the outside. Because I've been telling people and showing people, and you might have seen it on my Instagram where I've shown the temperature, not just the temperature, but the feel like temperature. And besides, I have to put on my sweater. I mean, I'm not going outside for very long, and honestly, if I was going outside for any length of time, going for a walk or something like that, you would see me wearing a jacket and such. But I will actually go, and I also gotta remember where I'm doing this. Hold on. I really hope this is not the bun, because I'm trying. No, that's not the bun. That's not. Because I'm about to open the door here. I gotta remember what I show here. Yes, I'm putting on some boots right here. Right here. Hold on. Let me open the door here. And I step outside. I'm stepping outside, everyone. Stepping outside. That's why I don't have my jacket on, but I do have my wool sweater on. See, I'm outside. Let me turn the camera around here. So yeah, see, now I'm outside. So I know my battery's not start going down. Let me so yeah. Let me turn the camera around here. Oop, that slipped. And take off that bubble thingy here for a moment here. So yeah. I don't know how good the Wi-Fi is at my buddy's place, so if I cut out, you'll know why. But yeah. See? Getting some sun. It's those Arctic high pressure systems. It'll be sunny, but it'll be Arctic cold. Yeah, it's just right swinging in the snow while I'm at it. Straight up, right there. Bring back up my chat here so you guys can see that here. that I'm actually outside, not just staying inside the whole time. But obviously, this is why I'm putting on a sweater. I always, if I was walking or whatever, I put on like, or going out or doing something like shoveling or whatever, I put on like gloves and such. Right, gloves, a hat, to my buffs that I have inside, and jacket and stuff like that. It's probably minus 30. The wind's, it's not that windy. That's why you don't hear much and such. You know, generally your breath's going straight up. And you could. All right, so just to show that here. And besides, I went to right in the snow anyways. All right. And yes, look, I do not recommend doing this, by the way. I'm only doing this for the sake of emphasis and such, and obviously, but stay dry. Water conducts heat away. Like and I have done this hand submerging thing before, so yes, to a certain degree. All right, but the only reason I even is that picking up on camera? That's not me blowing. That's the water evaporating off my hand. But yeah, stay dry because water pulls heat away. I can see it in the. I don't know if that's picking up in camera because I can actually see that. Now, honestly, what I'm gonna do because my hand's wet, I'm gonna put it underneath my armpit to dry off my hand right away, right? And things like having warm clothes, a warm pair of pants, or dry clothes to change into is very important. And apparently my battery's still at 86%, so we'll see how long. And yes, it is. I know it's minus 30 out. The only thing is, it's not that windy out, and literally I'm just outside, right? Just outside my buddy's place, so I can walk back in right away, right, to warm back up and such, right? But like I said, if you're like outside for a significant amount of time traveling on the highway or something like that in conditions like this, yeah, bring some stuff, all right? Just in case, right? Just so you don't look foolish. Just so you don't have to, make your parents, coworkers, loved ones worried that and such, you know. So you're gonna make that emergency call or something about like my car broke down or whatever. You can at least tell them, hey, I brought the sleep bag, a blanket with me. Such and such. I'm wearing clothing. I can wait for you guys to pick me up in an hour, right? Something like that, right? Versus worrying people, right? Because I don't want to be a burden on the system or a burden to them too, right? Or you're waiting for that tow truck or whatever, right? You'll still be warm. All right, everyone. I think this would be a good time here to say, come on, chat. I'm trying to bring up the chatter. Yeah. I'll 2-minute warning here. So, because I think I'm gonna go back inside real soon here. I don't actually have my gloves. I'm wearing a wool sweater. This is wool. But even wool has its limitations, right? Even wool has its limitations. It's warm, don't get me wrong, but it also has its limitations. So, and like anything, all right, our bodies have its limitations. You might be able to endure or handle it a little bit, but after a while, and after a significant amount of time, it's don't wear down. So. I do appreciate everyone joining me on this stream here. It was impromptu, and I figured I'd show a little bit more of the outside and such. Yeah, see, my hand's dried out. Yeah, thanks, Bush Dog. Yeah, see, just to show that I'm not just saying it, I'm actually wearing it, right? Because I know better. I know better. I got a hood. I got a hood on. I can put on more stuff if I wanted to, right? I got some extra gear inside, like I said, if I was actually walking in this or traveling for any significant amount of time. It's one thing, to go out at the garage to get something, come back in, right? But it's totally different if you're going to be out for, a significant amount of time, 15, 20 minutes or so. In the wind, going to, or on the road, or on the highway, or something like that, or remote area, ice fishing, all that stuff, right? Be ready for it, right? Be ready for it. Anyways, everyone, you all can create a better future today, starting today. And like always, our world may be changing right now and may be colder, but we can also adapt to our skill and knowledge get better with practice. Yeah, I see you, Bush Dog. I see that comment. You can't help everyone out there, but you can help someone out there. And until next time for me, so this is really cold, by the way. Take care, everyone. Stay safe out there, stay warm. Take winter seriously, and it's peace out from the one known as CR, like it says in the snow. Bye, everyone. Take care.